guys, welcome back to the James Bond Show with Krazy Kajeevie, the bad boy of James Bond with no fears, limits or substitutes. Guys, I am back tonight, 2 in a row, with another Dissecting the Directing episode, and this time it is Dr. No. Now guys, please forgive me, because what happens is I film it, I'm here on the left of my TV, and when I upload this, for some reason the camera's flipping the image around. So if I say left to right, well, when I'm filming it and I'm saying he's left of frame, he's left of frame. So maybe just try in your heads and flip that round a bit, but hopefully you'll get the gist until I work out this technical issue. Okay, so I'm going through one of the most classic, famous James Bond scenes of all time, where James Bond assassinates Professor Dent. Now, this wasn't from the novels, but it was included in the film, and I think it's an incredible addition, written by Richard Maybaum, and it's just fantastic. So I'm going to analyse this from a director's point of view, and I'm also going to talk almost blasphemously about a few things I may have just changed, and I'm also going to show you a few little goofs, bloopers, and maybe intentional things the director did just to mess around with the audience. Let's have a look at this. So I've started where James Bond, he's just entered this door as Miss Tara has been driven away. I've decided to start the scene from here. James Bond, he's in there. You can see he's full of thought. This is directed by Terence Young. He's full of thought. Tara's gone off. He's closing the door. He knows someone in his gut. He knows someone's going to come and kill him. Let's see what he does. This is classic filmmaking 101. So he looks around. He's thinking. You can see in his eyes, Connery's just incredible performance here. He's really thinking. Now, what I love about this is the director, Terence Young, has not done one cut in post-production in the edit. He's obviously filmed this knowing what he's going to do with his editor, Peter Hunt, in the edit. And he's kept Bond entirely in one shot the whole time. So there's no cuts or anything. Let's go back a little bit. So he stays on him. He's centre of frame here. There's no cuts. Now I love Bond's gone to the door. He's thinking. He's looked at this stuff suddenly in his head. You'll see in a moment, Connery does this fantastic slight little smile. Of course, when you go back and watch this scene on your TV, you'll probably pick up a few things I'm talking about, but you'll notice a little smile coming up when he's figured out his plan and what he's going to do. You see right here, this is where he does a little smile. So he knows what he's doing. He's worked out in his head. He's going to set this up for whoever's coming to kill him to make them think that Miss Tara is still in here. And he's just worked this out nicely. This is why he's doing the double vodka shots. Have a look back. See if you can just see the little smile on his face. Just here. I'll go back slightly more. You can see it there, just there, as he's pouring it. And I love that change of rapid pace. He's like, got the drinks, what am I going to do, what am I going to do? Vroom, and the cameraman's just gone with him beautifully. And again, this is just played out in what you would call a master shot. So a master is just basically where there's no cut or edit. And what's so fantastic about this scene, this is old school Fleming. Like, this may not be straight out of novel, but this is Fleming's Bond. Where he's thinking, there's no gadgets. Now this is a fantastic touch. I love here, Bond still centre of frame. They've kept him centre of frame. And the little touch by playing the record player underneath the mango tree might have been a good little marketing thing at the time back in '62, but it's showing Bond's relaxation and how calm he is before he knows what's going to come. So again, even we're starting from a more high wide angle, we're staying with Bond, and we're showing, the director is showing what he's doing here with the pillow and the blanket. I like the fact he's gone from a high angle looking down, but he's also still staying in a master. Even though we've got this section of the set here in the way, that doesn't matter too much because Bond here is the focus. Now, the camera's we've done this little pan down, so this is such clever cinematography with the cinematographer, the director of photography, and Terence Young, the director. We've gone from this like high angle, the camera's just come down slightly, there's no cutting from this angle looking up or anything. It's all about just staying on James Bond and what's going on in his mind and what he's doing, and allowing Sean Connery as the actor just to do this full performance. This is obviously telling the audience. Now, guys, I want you to, I was going to say, this is telling the audience that Bond's getting ready, he knows what's coming. Now, what I want to show you is this. Here's a little bit of either a blooper or the director doing this to take the piss out of the audience and work out if we're smart enough to notice a few little mistakes. See the ashtray here. You see the ashtray here? Keep an eye on that ashtray. And soon we're going to focus on James Bond's socks as well. Also, see the bag here. Now, that's Miss Taro's bag that she didn't get to take before. Look how the handle of the bag is pointing outwards. Keep an eye on that later too. Now, this is Professor Dent walking up to the house, okay? It's almost blasphemous to say, but this is one part I would have actually changed just to keep the tension, almost like, Hitchcockian style. I would not have shown Dent coming. I would have just, from this angle here, I would have pulled up. We hear a sound, even maybe from here, a sound in the background, like the door opening. The camera comes up, we see Bond's face, he's concerned, the sounds get louder, we don't know who's there. We don't know if it's a man, a woman, 10 men, 5 women, whoever. That's personally what I would have done. I wonder what you guys think about that. Let's get back into it. Now you notice the ashtray is gone, and where is the light? Okay, so the light's here now. Now this is great. There's just sounds of crickets and stuff like that. There's not big thudding crazy sounds, and there's no music taking over the scene. It's just about the action and the performance. Now, these are really the first cuts, other than when we cut to Dent, these are really the first cuts in the scene. And these cuts are brilliant. They're required. I think these cuts are perfect. Obviously showing the bullet holes going into the fake setup. Then here the pillows under there pretending to be, Bond's done that as humans under there. So those cuts and then back to the gun, I think is absolutely perfect.
Stop it, Professor, and behind you.
Okay guys, now right here, I'm going to show you a little bit of either the piss take or a bit of a mistake. You'll see James Bond here has got low-line socks. So you can see his leg there, his pants, his leg, his sock, and the ashtray is hidden behind the light. Okay, ashtray's behind the light. Also, the bag handle, that's starting to change and move back a bit. But when we when we get to it, I'll show you what happens here. Now, I love this angle. This angle's perfect, even though, so we've got Dent here on right of frame, and we've got Bond on the left. Well, if my camera doesn't flip around, we've got Bond on the left here. And even though he's on a higher angle to Bond, he's in control. He's got the gun on him. And you can see the shock on Anthony Dawson playing Professor Dent on his face.
It's funny, I thought you'd turn up sooner or later. Sit down.
Go.
Now you see here, short sock, leg, ashtray behind there. Keep an eye on those.
But of course.
Now, before I even get to the blooper here, what I want to also give you guys is this. A lot of people watching this scene, and even myself for many years before I thought about it more and matured as an adult and stuff like that, would often think, wow. And this shows you about the techniques of filmmaking and smart writing, really clever writing. In this day and age, this stuff would be spelled out to you. Now, we don't know, as the audience, we don't actually know what Bond knows, and we're not fully thinking about what Bond knows. Now, even though there's a blooper with a gun and it wasn't really a Smith & Wesson, a gun he throws down, but Bond is so blasé, and a lot of people think, oh, he's blasé, he's relaxed, he's looking away, Dent could have just rushed him, Dent could have grabbed his gun more. But the great thing here in the clever writing and the performance is Bond knows something we don't. Bond knows Dent has no weapons. Now, most audiences and women, even men, wouldn't know that that's a six-shooter. Bond knows that. That's why he's blasé at this time.
I was suspicious of the Queen's Club anyhow, when it turned out you were the only one who'd seen Strangway's new secretary.
You can see here he's looking away from him, he's blasé. Now, here's the blooper, guys. Now the sock is a long sock, right? And the ashtray isn't behind the light anymore. The ashtray is in clear view. The cards have also changed and they're a bit messed up compared to what they were earlier. And the handbag handle is no longer over here and hanging out into frame.
And then later at the lab, you made no reference to the fact that Strangway's samples were radioactive.
And you can see the ashtray is fully here. The ashtray just before was here. Originally it was right behind there, then it was there. Now the ashtray's right on the corner.
Very clever, Mr. Bond.
What I love here is director Terence Young, he's creating so much tension, and the main attention is on the fact that Bond knows he's shot the six. Bond's not looking at him while Dent's trying to pull over the gun that's on the doona. That's fantastic, but it's backed up by fantastic camera angles. And look at this. This is a wide angle shot. Probably wide angle lens here used. Wide angle shot, it's not boom close up. And when they go into their conversation dialogue, it's not on close ups. It's great. It's classic filmmaking. And as I've said in a previous Dr. No Dissecting the Directing View where I did M's Office, Terence Young hated overuse of close-ups. He liked close-ups. He didn't like them being overused. And here, he's showing that.
But you're up against more than you know. You shoot me and you'll end up like Strangways.
And you killed him?
He was killed, but never mind how.
Who are you working for, Professor?
Well, you might as well know, as you won't live to use the information. I'm working for...
Now you see right here the look on Anthony Dawson's face. You know, this is fantastic. Both of them are fantastic actors, and you see the look on his face. There's this desperation, and again on the high wide angle shot and letting the scene breathe, letting it play out. No cutting.
It's a Smith & Wesson. And you've had your...
And this is the most dramatic part of the film, and you've had your six. Boom, boom. Right? Or boom, and then shoots him in the back. But again, look at this angle. You can see it all. It's fantastic. And he's trusting, the director is trusting in the actor, center of frame, great presence, letting him do the performance. He's trusting in the actor to do that. Just going to move that slightly, guys.
6.
So we'll go back slightly and watch it
You
from
might
here.
as well know, as you won't live to use the information. And what keep up?
This is Smith and Wesson. And you've had your 6.
Now, some people have said, oh, that's brutal, etc. This is Ian Fleming's James Bond. And what is so brilliant about it is there's no quip. If this was later 60s after Goldfinger or Roger Moore era, there would have to be a funny line. Here, there is no quip. It's deadly. This is a man in his element. He's done this before. He needs to do this. Yes, oh, it's cold blood. But if this bloke who's now dead, if he had an opportunity previously as proven, he would kill him. And he needs to get rid of him and go on with the mission. It's great writing, it's beautiful direction, and it's wonderful performance. Just go back 2 seconds because I want to make a point about something else. So we'll just have a look here as he shoots him again.
Live to use the information. And what keep up?
This is Smith and Wesson. And you've had your 6.
And one thing, guys, you may never have noticed. Watch this. As Dent is shot in the back. So some people, even critics, complained about the violence in this scene and thought it was too violent back in the day. Well, have a look at this. Dent's shot.
Wesson.
He's on his front.
And you've had your 6.
So he goes down. He's on his front, and people think, oh, that's it, he's dead. Bond doesn't need to shoot him. But notice when Bond shoots him in the back, Dent comes up, puts his arm around. So that's actually, whether it was done intentionally or not, I'm liking to think it was done intentionally by the director and the actor. Because he shoots him again, Dent flings his arm around. It's showing that he wasn't actually dead. If he was fully dead, you wouldn't have seen movement in the body. So watch this. See? You actually see him moving slightly before it. He gets shot, boom, moves his hand around. He was still alive, so it was right for Bond to finish him off. And then he sees the head drop. Now, what's beautiful here is Bond takes the silencer out. You still see the cigarette smoke there. He takes the silencer out. You can still see the smoke coming from the gun here. He's still focused. He's still looking at Dent. Connery is just wonderful here. He's still looking at Dent. And then he just blows on the gun to call it off. And it's just about ruthless efficiency and Bond going on with the job and no smart comment. And I love this. This is Ian Fleming. Now, what I love here is what you're about to see next. How Terence Young and the editor Peter Hunt takes us out of the scene. Now, I love this. Little look, wink of the eye. And then it's a dissolve into the next scene. It is ruthless. It is efficient. There's no fancy music. There's no fancy gadgets. There's no fancy line. And this is what set Dr. No up to be so different from a lot of other films and to really set the tone for a harsh, brutal Ian Fleming's James Bond. And in this day and age, when we have people cuckold shills like Scott Mendelson of Forbes that writes for Forbes, and he's actively now calling for a social justice warrior, black James Bond. This James Bond was the son of a Scottish travelling salesman. The mother was a Swiss woman. He had father, mother, history. Sandhurst trained, went to Eton. He had this military background, this white imperialistic background. This is James Bond, and that can never be taken away from us fans. Guys, if you've liked this video, please subscribe. If you haven't already, please drop a like, and in the comments below, let me know what scene you'd like me to dissect next time. Until then, keep on bonding and say hi to your mum for me.